I believe that the future is going to be substantially more conservative in this country. And the math is fairly simple. Liberals are more likely to abort their own children, sterilize their children, or sterilize themselves. Now, many have argued that the way around this for the left is to indoctrinate conservative kids and make them more left-leaning. And that is a possibility, except the right is pushing back to a great degree, getting many of these graphic books removed from schools, calling out these curriculums, allowing parents more rights. And the left, of course, is freaking out about it. This story I have for you is a story of desperation on the part of the left. From Timcast.com. Massachusetts bans couple from fostering children because of conservative Catholic beliefs on marriage and gender. That's right. Mike and Kitty Burke filed a lawsuit against the state on August 8th for denying them the ability to foster due to their religious views. You see what I see here? You see what I see here. And you probably see the same thing. These Democrat-run institutions are terrified that having conservatives raise kids will exacerbate their already in crisis moment. They're not having enough kids to perpetuate their ideas. Conservatives are. And if conservatives start fostering children, and they do, and they're more likely to, the future will be conservative. Quote, Mike and Kitty Burke are a Catholic couple from Massachusetts who have long wanted to become parents. Beckett Law, who is representing the Burkes, said in a press release about the case. Mike is an Iraq war veteran. Kitty is a former paraprofessional for special needs children. And together, they run a small business and perform music for Massachusetts. Unfortunately, the Burkes learned early on in their marriage that they would not be able to have children of their own. Mike and Kitty began exploring becoming foster parents through the state's foster care program with the hopes of caring for and eventually adopting children in need of a stable, loving home like theirs. There's currently a shortage of foster families in the state and over 1,500 children without foster families. The law firm noted, the crisis has become so extreme that the state has resorted to housing children in hospitals for weeks on end. Not because the children need medical attention, but because the Commonwealth has nowhere else to put them. Now more than ever, Massachusetts needs loving couples like the Burkes to foster children in need. The couple completed hours of training in 2022 and underwent extensive interviews and a home study to qualify for the foster program. Throughout the process, Mike and Kitty emphasized their willingness to foster children from diverse backgrounds and with special needs. They expressed their openness to fostering sibling groups as well, so that children in need could maintain those critical family ties. In all respects, the Burkes were an ideal foster family. During the home interviews, the Burkes noticed that many of the questions that they were being asked focused on their Catholic views regarding sexual orientation, marriage, and gender dysphoria. The couple insisted that they would love and accept any child, no matter their sexual orientation or struggles with gender identity. However, because Mike and Kitty said they would continue to hold their religious beliefs about gender and human sexuality, Massachusetts denied them a license to foster any child because, as the reviewer put it, their faith is not supportive and neither are they. Federal law protects the ability of religious people and organizations to foster children in need without having to forfeit their beliefs. Because Massachusetts was unwilling to uphold law, including its own foster parent Bill of Rights, Beckett is going to court to enforce them, the law firm said. The 132-page complaint requests the court declare that the First and 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution require defendants to cease discriminating against plaintiffs and those who share plaintiffs' religious beliefs on the basis of their religious beliefs, exercise, and expression. They are also seeking attorney's fees and nominal and compensatory damages. I also believe there's probably a claim under the Civil Rights Act, which protects religion. But as you can see, my friends, the left is scared. That's right. They don't want conservatives, Christians, raising children because they know they are losing. They are going after your children. There's a funny meme. It says, how come you keep trying to read books to kids and not, the elderly or special needs? Making a reference to Drag Queen Story Hour. Now, of course, there have been stories about drag queens reading books to all sorts of people. But the big news and what we see the big push on is not Drag Queen Story Hour for the retirees, because no one cares about that. If somebody wants to be entertained and they're an adult, that's fine. It's the indoctrination of children. So I certainly think there's good news to be seen here. While the story itself is quite troubling, I think in the end it shows the desperation of the left and that the future ain't going to be nearly as bad. I want to show you the future the left wants for you. From the Daily Mail. Shocking moment. Woman cries for help laying in San Diego street as man walks away after appearing to steal her pink bike while no one comes to her rescue. Video posted online shows a woman apparently brawling with a man before he grabs a pink bike by its handlebars and seat and calmly walks away. Help me, somebody help me, but nobody comes. As the man turns the corner, the woman comes back in a frame, trying to chase after him with just one sneaker on. That's the future they want for you. There's another video going around. Everyone's making fun of these people. It says, this is Ohio for you. Two people get out of a car, a man and a woman, and a fat woman gets out of the car in front, and they're yelling at each other. Someone's filming the whole thing. The woman who gets out of the car in the rear says, call the cops. She threw something at us. And you know what I love about this video? The person filming ignores her, just keeps filming. That's it. It's remarkable. Someone says, please call the police. She threw something at our car. And the guy in his car just sits there filming on his phone, ignoring the police for help. And everyone makes fun of these people saying, oh, Ohio, you're all so crazy. Yeah, what a crazy world. There was a woman who was raped on a train in, I believe it was Philadelphia, and people pulled out their phones and filmed it. That's what you can expect from your neighbors. That's the future you can expect to live in. Now, I'm not a conservative Christian, although with the left, they keep claiming anybody who doesn't agree with their crackpot worldview is a conservative, I guess. They're revolutionaries, so of course they'd feel that way. But among conservatives, they say I'm not a conservative. But I would certainly prefer Christian parents raising kids as opposed to crackpot pedos, groomers, and woke leftists raising kids because they're hurting children. Not every single one. Some, I assume, are good people, but for the most part, you get some really bad stuff going on out here. When we look at the data, I can only tell you the desperation will get worse because it seems more and more often or more and more likely that it's going to be conservatives having kids, children being brought up by conservative families, and then the big data that young kids right now, 12th grade boys, these are, seniors in high school, skewing conservative, and 12th grade girls skewing liberal. But you know what? The data suggests it's going to only get worse for all of the far left because these liberal young women will start skewing conservative when they try to date. That's how it's going to be. You see, the convictions of these young men watching Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson, Steven Crowder, Jimmy Dore, people like me, and Jimmy's not a hard conservative, mind you, but seeing people who are strong, passionate, defiant, that's what these young men are looking up to. Someone speaking to them, telling them to feel good, to be proud. And they're going to be object-oriented, more so than women. These young girls of the same age are going to look for dates. And what are they going to find? Older guys who are probably going to be more conservative, more traditional, and expect and want families, or younger guys who have been watching the likes of Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson. Don't get me wrong, I'd prefer Jordan Peterson over Andrew Tate for the kids to get their inspiration from. But, I think the hatred of Andrew Tate is extremely overhyped. If you look at their actual interviews, they're saying pretty good stuff. If you look at the videos they put out in a lot of these clips, albeit many of them are out of context, they're saying pretty bad stuff. But for the most part, they're speaking to young men. And young men are being inspired by this. Young women, if they want to date, if they want to socialize with men, they're not going to be able to accomplish it by flying pride flags. The guys are going to be like, nah, not interested. What's going to happen then? The young women who are more conservative are going to have more successful relationships. They're going to be posting their super cool Instagrams where they and their boyfriends are posting on the beach with sunglasses. These other women are going to get jealous. They're going to say, I want that. But you're not going to get it flying a progress pride flag because the boys don't care anymore. You're going to have to go and start saying what the guys want to hear. I talked about this the other night, and I think it's mostly true. Well, it is true that a lot of guys will say whatever they need to say to get laid. That's true. What's happening now is that many of these young men are being left behind and they're not finding any social acceptance. They're finding themselves locked away in their basements, but success comes and happiness comes when they work on themselves, lift weights, lose weight, eat right, and then they start building community with each other. They find something of value. Maybe they go to a lecture or an event, they meet people like them, they form a community. And these young women, they want to socialize as well. They're on Instagram. They are being indoctrinated by everyone is, by the algorithms. But something interesting is happening. These young women are going to be heavily influenced, more so than men, because we see this in the data. Young women are heavily influenced by social media more so than men. Men are going to watch the videos, become more conservative, post with their awesome girlfriends on the beach, on the mountains, on an adventure. And the women who are woke are going to miss out. They're going to feel FOMO, and then they're going to start posting to attract these people. We'll see. I could be wrong, but I certainly think that'll be the case. In the meantime, expect the left to get more and more desperate and thrash about in ways like this. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.